welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily podcast, your go-to podcast for everything tech and business related. I'm your host, Neil C. Hughes, and today we're journeying into the ever-evolving realm of blockchain and Web3. And our guest is the brilliant mind behind NodeReal, a pioneering startup blockchain and Web3 technology that's offering one-stop infrastructure solutions that enable businesses to seamlessly make that transition from Web 2 to Web 3. And since its inception back in 2021, NodeReal has been committed to the growth and success of the Web 3 ecosystem, and they do that by empowering developers, innovative Web 3 applications and large-scale Web 2 applications. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to Singapore, where Dr. Zhang is going to shed light on how NodeReal is helping redefine the possibilities out there across the digital landscape. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Ben. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do, and also about the inception of NodeReal?
Sure. Thank you, Neil. Thanks for having me. For me, right, I'm the founder and also COO of the NodeReal. And NodeReal is like infrastructure provider company. And actually, before I set up this kind of company, right? So I worked in Morgan Stanley almost 10 years, and before the 2019, I joined the Web3 and blockchain as my first job in the blockchain actually. But in the Morgan Stanley experience really helped me to understand a lot of the importance of the decentralization computing, right? That's also why I think in the 2019, I think that's some opportunity I should try, especially in the blockchain and Web3. And that's also why I joined the BNB chain as my first try, right, in the Web3 and the blockchain. And I'm quite lucky when I joined, they're just starting the BNB chain, and we also kick off the BNB Smart Chain, BSC. So far, that one is still one of the largest blockchain, layer 1 blockchain, right? When I was in the BNB chain, I played as the ecosystem coordinator and build the whole ecosystem from scratch. It's a very exciting experience there. But also during that experience, right, I really identified some of the huge opportunity for the high performance and scalable, right, infrastructure, such as I think later I can explain more, right, such as the node service, API service, or even hosting service, which is very similar as a traditional AWS or Ali Cloud or Google Cloud, right, the cloud service for the Web3 developer and a Web3 devs. I identified the opportunity when I was in the BNB chain, right? That's also why I, left the team and left the BNB chain and set up the NodeReal in the 2021 September. And 2 months later will be the 2 years anniversary for the NodeReal. And, in the NodeReal, right, after 2 years, right, we almost set up a very comprehensive products, right? Not only provide the traditional Web3 API service, which is quite similar as Imperial and Alchemy did, right? But also set up infrastructure as a service, such as a blockchain as a service. I think later we can discuss more.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to taking a deep dive into that in a moment. But sure. One of the things that put you on my radar really stood out was this one-stop infrastructure ethos that you've developed there. So can you tell me more about that, and also some of the key factors that led you to realize why this was so needed in the market?
Yeah. So when we say this one-stop, right, so, sometimes it's too technical. Let me use a little bit different words, right, to explain that. Just imagine, right, if you are the Web 2 developer, if you want to starting your develops, right, so usually you will start from your own laptop or PC. However, when you really deploy to the for the external facing, you may leverage the cloud service, right, using the AWS, using the Google Cloud or Ali Cloud, etc., right? But for this cloud service or infrastructure provider, as them, they usually provide a very combined service for the platform as infrastructure service, platform as service, software service to cover all the development, all the requirements for the developer needs, right? Especially for the the whole different architecture perspective. And we want to do the similar things because in the Web3, right? So as a Web3 developer, usually you need multiple layers and support, right? So for example, as a Web3 developer, you have to access the blockchain, right? Usually you need to set up the nodes to access the blockchain. And so far in current stage, a lot of the API or nodes provider as Imperial, as the Alchemy, etc., right? We do provide much high performance, right? So, like compare with them as well, right? So we do provide this service, make sure the developer can have a very easy way to access the blockchain. However, when your application is dramatically increasing, you have to do more like, for example, you want to set up your own blockchain, you want to expand your own ecosystem with a very large scale infrastructure yourself. Usually when we go there, right, especially for some of the giants like a game or, some large company, even Web2 company, they want to set up their own hosted service there, right, which is very very similar as the Web2 in the AWS right now. You host your computer, your storage, your network, right, in the blockchain, in the cloud, and hosted service in the AWS, right, or AliCloud or Google. So we provide this blockchain service for them to speed up this kind of the dramatically hosting there, right? And so this is something, we try to provide the service from the multiple layers. That's why we name it One Stop. But I think currently we are almost developed the whole product about 2 years, right? We're just the beginning. But our vision is we want when developer come to us, right, they do not need to go to other, vendor, right, similar as traditional Web2 for the cloud service.
And it seems to me one of the things that I love about what you're doing is you're like building a bridge between Web 2 and Web 3. And can you expand on why you're so passionate about easing that transition and why you feel it will be key to large-scale enterprise adoption? Because it's such a big topic right now, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a very, very important area. So actually, when I said the Web 2, it's not like just we're only talking the Web 2 developer, right? So the reason I mentioned this Web 2 is the mass adoption. Is because just compare with the Web 3 is, the Web 2, right? Compare with Web 2, Web 3 is still very tiny, right? So I always ask a lot of people, right? Just imagine, just to give a guess, right? How many layer ones are really reach 1 million monthly active users, 1 million monthly active users so far. So actually, most of them maybe do not get answered correctly, right? Only 6 layer 1 protocol, right? I mean, including the Ethereum, BNB chain, Solana, Polygon, all of them together, only 6 layer 1 can reach 1 million monthly active users. So which means we have a lot of ways, right, for the Web 2. When I say this Web 2, it's not just to bring the Web 2 to the Web 3, right? But also we make sure the Web 3 can dramatically attract more Web 2 users, right, to this world. And from the infrastructure side, right, from the user experience side, from the real business cases, right? That's something that's why I'm so passionate in these areas right now.
And I'm curious, what are the major challenges that enterprises typically face during a transition like this? Because I think adoption is the big topic. That's what people are talking about. And for every business leader listening, what kind of challenges are holding them back right now?
Yeah, that's I think that recently I'm also do a lot of the reflection on this area because we have so many different customers, right? So they are from the DeFi, from the game, from the traditional Web 2 companies, even some of the telecom or IoT company, right? So I really can see a lot of questions we need to ask from something like fundamental firstly, to be honest, right? So means the number one question we usually try to, especially recently, right, try to ask our partners. The first question we will ask is why you need a Web3, right? Sometimes, sometimes we are moving so fast, right? So we forget the spirits of the Web3. So Web3, the critical part, I think recently, Chris Nixon just published one book, right? He will publish one book named Read, Write, and Own. So important for the Web3 is the own part, which means that you own this data. You have a platform, and let's say you build a DApp, right? You are not owning all the stuff. You may own the algorithm. However, the assets, the data are not owned by you, right? All of these are owned by your community members. So you need to work with your community member, really empower your your products, right? Make sure products can reach them very easily. That's the power of Web3, right? So it's a decentralization, it's the trustless, and make sure you can have a global reach. And we need to always consider this one from the business side. So that's a typical question. I will make sure my Web2 or Web3 partners, right? They when they reach us, right? We need to help them to figure out this one. The secondly is also when they go to the Web3. I think that you maybe know that, right? There are so many options in the Web3 right now. If you check the layer one, how many layer ones we have, right? How many layer two we have? There are so many rollups, right? There are so many very complex tech stacks so far. Which chain you need to choose, right? Which tech stack you will choose, right? It's dramatically impact the Web2 companies or enterprise, right? Because they may lack of the expertise in the development areas, right? In the maintenance of these kind of the DevOps, right? Or like infrastructure, etc. So you need to carefully to prepare this one. And of course, right, with this one, they need to set up a very good expectation there, because you can see in the past several years, right? It's also maybe first several years, we see quite a lot of the Web2, they try different cases in the Web3 right now, right? For example, the Starbucks tried the loyalty program, Disneyland also set up some of the tries as well. Like people also tried a lot of the crypto payments, etc. So we need to set up a real expectation or milestones based on this kind of combination from business and technology. So with that, I think they maybe have a more like a realistic transition, right, from the Web2 to Web3.
And for those business leaders listening, how do managed services enable traditional enterprises to fully leverage blockchain technology? And just to bring some of that to life, are there any examples you can share where NodeReal services have actually made a real significant impact and delivered that value that the leaders are searching for?
Sure. This is this one I really want to, actually maybe also a promotion as well, right? So we do publish a lot of the blog. How do we try to transform some of the traditional enterprise, right? From the feature file, because we do think that the current DeFi is not enough, right? So we should help for the feature file, right? We should help for the creator business, and NFT is very popular, right? So how the NFT can help for the creators, right? The game and also loyalty program, etc. Right? Majorly 4 areas we try to help. But using one specific example, using a game as an example, right? That's one of my favorite areas, because a lot of the traditional game in the Web2 game, right? They have they are maybe the game studio, they are maybe the they may be game publisher, right? They do have a traditional or Web2 experience to have enough incentive to their users, have enough incentive to their partners, right? However, and this is one example we built starting from 1 year ago. We worked with the top 3, one of the top 3 game studio in South Korea, which is named Nameable, right? We build they want to build they just reached us, right? So they said that they have more than 30 games in their hands, right? With their IP, right? However, all of these games, they can using the traditional way to connect them together. But considering they are doing this kind of globalization and try to reach the global community, they think that they should try the new way, right, to outreach the community and also make sure this game have a better engagement with their community, right? So then we are, work with them to define different solutions. And the final agreement, they want to really build their own blockchain, right? Means that they set up that's why they have, released their test data and current is already managed. It's the name of the fancy chain, FANCY chain, right? Fancy chain. So with that fancy chain, they really, set up a foundation for this to connect all of their games together within this chain, right? Because everything is on chain, have their transparency in terms of the assets, data, and also community engagement, right? Everything is on chain, transparent, and also dramatically improve outreach. One NodeReal can help on this one, right? So because this chain, they lack of the, they have some fundamental blockchain development experience, which means they can deploy, they can help, they can work on the smart contracts, they can work on the a game integration, a game logic, integrate with the blockchain logic, right? But they lack of the blockchain like operation, blockchain hosting, and blockchain maintenance, right? All of these kind of the experience. We help them to set up all of this. So we help them to create. I would say it's one of the first, right, game chain for the something like industry first one, right, for this one. They are currently in the mainnet right now. And we help them to set up the validators. We help them to set up the, make sure the network have a very high performance access. We help them to build the Explorer, and they can build the dApps on top of that. So with this one, I think they are super happy about the current foundations. And also in the, give a little bit, something like will happening very soon, right? In the Q3 and the Q4, they are planning to deploy more games into this chain. We are really looking forward to it becoming like the first transformation, right, from the Web2 traditional game to the Web3 native games, right, and also really pilots this kind of the hosting service, right, through these through our service as well. Yeah.
And from all the conversations that you're having and the kind of calls that you're getting and people inquiring about your services, well, are there any trends around what industries or should that begin? What are some of the industries where you're seeing the most demand for your services, would you say?
Yeah, it's a quite a diverse, to be honest, right? So and especially recently, right? So there are more changes, to be honest, right? If you ask me this question 6 months ago, right? So my answer may be 4 areas, to be honest, right? It's API, majorly API, because the game, right? Because a lot of the game, they are looking for for this kind of transformation, and a lot of the loyalty program, because they can see the Web2 and Web3. The most successful transformation for the Web2 or pilots, right, in the Web2 are the loyalty program, right? So because that's very easily to demonstrate that decentralization or leverage the blockchain, because loyalty, you can use an NFT to demonstrate your membership through the NFT. You can have a lot of incentive programs there, right? Connect with your community, and also FutureFi, right? There are the DeFi have a lot of the risks there, right? However, the risk flavor does not mean you want to give up them, right? So a lot of people are still working on this DeFi and try to improve, especially for the risk management and also RegTech related stuff, right? So I can see so many things about this one. And however, and recently, right, we can also see besides these traditional DeFi improvements, right, and loyalty program in the game area, we also see the more areas, especially for the data side. And because the AI is dramatically expanding right now, right? It's almost touched all the business, all the industry segments right now. Same for the Web3, right? So and actually it's a perfect areas that have a lot of combination between AI and blockchain. And one example is, for example, the AI have a lot of people have a concern is who manage that data of the AI, right? However, blockchain and the decentralized storage will be the perfect solution for that one. And we can see more trends in these areas right now. Yeah, so I think I would say it's something like it's happening for the harmony between the Web2 and the Web3 starting from this year, because in the past 6 months or 12 months, right, the Web3 or crypto got a little bit downtrends, right? But when real use case coming, right, especially like AI or like Web2 leverage more, right, you can see more opportunities here.
And we should also mention tech giants like Amazon and Google have finally started offering Web3 style managed services. So I've got to ask, how does their entrance into this space impact companies like NodeReal? And how do you guys plan to stay ahead and retain that competitive advantage that you have there?
Sure. Actually, by the way, so actually AWS and Ali Cloud are our very strategic partners, right? We have all of these conversations almost every week, or every 2 weeks, etc. Right? So very deep discussion on a lot of different areas. The reason is why, so far I still do not position anything like competitive or something like direct impacts right now, right? Because the reason is the whole industry, the whole Web3 industry is still so early and so small right now, right? And also, a lot of times, as we just described, right, Web2 and Web3 have a lot of overlaps right now. And they are the giants, right, in the Web2. I think that they will drive a lot of the Web2 transformations going forward. That's also why we worked with AWS and Ali super closely right now, right? We are not only leveraging their service to build some of our infrastructure, but also try to work with them super closely for this part. But however, one thing I also want to highlight is the, NodeReal, right? Why we choose the NodeReal as our firm name. And, the secret is know your real needs. The node is know your real needs, right? So currently, we are still very small, right? So we only finished the first round, seed fundraising, and we want to focus on our customer, right? Try to understand what's the real demands right now. And that's also why, we are currently, very focused on this kind of business line, right? Focused on this, we name it high performance API service, and also focus on the very blockchain service, right? And it's also remind us when the cloud service company, right? So there's a lot of different infrastructure providers, right? So I think that it's just the beginning of the Web3. So far, it's still in a collaboration way. I don't think it's complicated right now. It's I hope we can work with AWS and Ali Cloud or Google, right, as the infrastructure provider, work more deeply and speed up this kind of transaction, speed up this kind of the infrastructure builders, right? And make sure this Web2 transformation much faster. Yeah, so that's the goal.
And from your perspective then, how are you seeing traditional Web2 applications responding to the blockchain era? And also, how does NodeReal's mission align with supporting some of these applications and beginning to explore blockchains? It feels like there's a lot of work to be done here, a lot of excitement, and I'm just curious on what you're seeing from your perspective.
Yeah, so far for the traditional, as I just mentioned, right, traditional Web2 companies, actually 1 month ago, I joined Asia in the Singapore Crypto Asia. I also shared that one. I can see that Web2 have so many different tries right now. Loyalty program, real estate, like real world assets, right? Real estate, IoT, right? All of these, they try to leverage a different blockchain. And also Web2 application, to be honest, it does not mean they do not have experience on the blockchain, right? It's quite similar as cloud. And originally in the cloud, right, typically we have a public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud there, right? So some of the Web2 company also tried the blockchain within their company already. They may using their technology, right? Using one Telegram, our customer as example, right? They are using the R3, very traditional service, right? Blockchain service to build their internal private blockchain to support their IoT. And but when this kind of the opportunity coming, right, they really want to see whether how this kind of the transformation, how this public blockchain technology help them, right? Because traditionally they are using the private chain, right, to help them. I think now is the time for this Web2, this kind of Web2, right? This kind of Web2 we name it Web 2.5. And this Web 2.5 means that they really have some of the experience before, right? They may want to bridging their own Web 2 experience with some of the their Web 2 or the blockchain technology stack to the public blockchain, right? So this is something we really can see some tries already, especially even some of the very traditional areas, for example, the healthcare, etc. We really can see that, right? Because it's not only leverage the blockchain decentralized computing, right, but also leverage the blockchain decentralized storage as well. And so this is I think some of the transformation and opportunities, right? And in general, I really can see all of these different areas are trying right now. Including healthcare, telecom, energy, even education, hotel, right? So all of these different areas are doing. I'm really do not see the limits or imagination of this kind of opportunity. The only thing is, I typically, as I said before, right, try to help them to figure out what's their business missions here, right? Why they want to have this one. And I can give one example, right? Some of the game, although, we have a success story for the Korea, one of the South Korea game company, and some of the game company also reaching us, right? They have a very successful game already. Why they need to leverage the Web3? Right? Typically, we try to figure out a better way for them, and this is quite important. Yeah.
So as we look forward into the future and maybe even think about life in 2024, what are the most significant opportunities and equally challenges that you see in fostering those big things that every business is chasing right now? Massive adoption in the space, growth and long-term success of that Web3 ecosystem that's being built right now. What are you seeing here in the months ahead?
Yeah, I think I personally feel, it's and I always try to use the comparison between the Web3 and internet, growth periods, right? Yeah. Because if we compare with that, right, I think that the whole Web3 readiness, it's maybe 10 years and need another 10 years to be readiness, right, for the whole ecosystem growth, right? I mean, the dramatically growth to embrace 1 billion users, something like that, right? Why I mentioned that, right? So that's also why there's a huge opportunity from the infrastructure, from the data, right, from the whole business transformation side. So using the infrastructure as an example, right? So as I'm from the infrastructure, right? So if you have a chance to see the whole, tech stack, right, for one developer, it's super complex, right? For the developer, you have to choose the blockchain, you have to choose the API, the SDK, you have to choose the development tooling, you have to choose the, some of the a platform for the NFT, for all of this stuff, right? It's super complex, the tech stack there. How can we simplify that one? And using one another simple example, right? Just imagine, right? So Web3 so far still not resolved one of the showstopper issue, I would say, right? The private key management. I don't think the Web2 users or 1 billion users can manage the private key, right? But lucky enough, right? Starting from this year, Ethereum and other blockchain, right, including BNB, all of them, right, try to adopt a more smart contract way, smart wallets or abstract account abstraction, right? Make sure you do not need to manage this private key anymore, right? You can have leverage your social login, you leverage this social recovery to log in this application. This is simple things, right? But Web3 is still not fully ready yet. I give this as a weak example. You can see that that's a huge opportunity for the infrastructure provider, infrastructure and the tooling side. Right? So that's also why we are super focused here. And but another part is, as I mentioned, this kind of the data, right? So currently, most of people, when they are talking about the Web3, they are still thinking about, this is just for the crypto or token, right? Fungible token or non-fungible token. That's the assets part. However, the Web3 split, and as I mentioned before, it's read, write, and own. Own your data, commercialize your data is super critical right now, right? So for us, right, we also invest quite a lot of times on this data right now because we think that's the most important part for the next Web3 something like initiatives, right? And that's also aligned with the internet growth as well, right? Just imagine what kind of the projects really drive the internet growth. It's streaming platforms or social media platform, right? They have a lot of data there, a lot of data processing, right? Similar as Facebook and Netflix, etc. I think the Web3 data will be the key for the next opportunity. Of course, last but not least is Web2 to Web3 data transformation, right? I think all of this has a huge opportunity. And I hope, right, more people can try to leverage this downtime, although it's a downtime, but I can see so many builders still build around from all of these layers.
And I think there is a real pressure on everyone in every industry to be in a state of almost continuous learning. And the Web3 space in particular is moving at breakneck speed. So I've got to ask, Where or how do you self-educate to stay one step ahead and keep up to speed with these trends? What's your secret there? What do you do?
Sure. So I did not mention I got my PhD. Right? I'm a little bit of like scientific research, something like that, right? But it does not mean you always need to go to like this deeper, right? Oh, I think for this one, for my education, I learned that for some systematic learning experience, right? So, for example, if you want to be the serious developer, actually there are multiple different type of the education purpose, right? If you are like just for try to play around of the blockchain apps, right? You don't need to go to such deeper learning, right? You maybe need to make sure you understand the wallets, you understand some risk of these projects before you engage with them, right? So all of this, you can try to learn some of the best practice about these apps, like learning or interaction side, right? There are so many like tutorial about that. But if you want to play as the hardcore developer or strategic leads, right, to understand the technology deeply, to understand the industry direction, I think number one is you need to set up your foundation, because otherwise, you don't know whenever some information coming, right? Even some people share some material, right, in the Twitter, in the Medium or blog, or like somewhere else, right? You cannot using your own opinion to evaluate that, right? So that's why for me, right, I when I started from the blockchain, I joined the MOOC. I try to understand the fundamental, for example, blockchain like mechanism, including the consensus, cryptographic algorithm, right? Some of the building life cycle. Of course, if you are the builder, you can write in some codes, etc. And that's the foundation, because with that, right, what's really big, that's what's the real implementation will happening, right? What's the direction will go, right? Because so imagine, right, even the blockchain, most of the blockchain technology is based on the computer science. There's based on the computer science algorithm. A lot of the algorithm is happening like already defined 20 years ago, right? Using the cryptographic as an example, right? There's no breakthrough recently. So most of the algorithm already defined or already invented like long times ago, right? So if you understand that, you can set up a foundation there. And if you really want to like understand how to build these kind of DApps, right? So I consider the Web3 projects typically open source, and it's very open for everyone. You can join that GitHub, you can join their community, you even can contribute for everything right there. With this kind of community help, or if you have a team around with them, you can dramatically improve your knowledge about the Web3 developments. And if you want to understand the industry trends more closely, you may need to follow some of the industry trends research reports from, for example, from Survey, from the Digital Delphi, right? All of these kind of top researches, and of course some of the top research university, right? So, for example, in the some of the top research university in the worldwide, in the US, in Asia or Europe, right? You should follow that research. But there are multiple different areas, right? You can select some areas you are interested in. And of course, I'm focusing on the Ethereum ecosystem, right, or EVM compatible ecosystem. So it is research or Vitalik blog, right, will be the best place if you want to catch up with these directions, right? For example, recently he mentioned so many new challenges in the rollup areas, right, and including some of the mass adoption areas as well. Yeah, I hope that helped for the new joiners. Yeah.
I was going to say, so many big takeaways there. And also, additionally, there are so many different URL names out there at the moment and extensions. So what's the best place for listeners to find out more about NodeReal, contact your team, join your community, find out more about anything we talked about today? Where would you like to point everyone listening?
Yeah, sure. So always try to reach our website, right, NodeReal.io. You can get most of the information there, especially like our Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Discord, right? So usually we are super active on all of these channels, especially Twitter, right? You can get all of our updates there. And we are also very active, if you have any question, not only for our products, right, but also for the whole industry. And because we are super active in some of the blockchain as key contributors like BNB chain, as the laptops or Sui, and do finance from these kind of the top blockchain contributors as well.
Well, I love chatting with you today, learning more about the story behind this one-stop approach, the need for an end-to-end solution to enable blockchain implementation at scale. It's an incredibly exciting space you're in right now. And also why easing the transition from Web 2 to Web 3 will be the key to enterprise adoption, and how managed services are the key to enabling traditional enterprises to ultimately fully leverage blockchain technology. Again, incredibly exciting. Just a big thank you for taking the time to share your story with me today. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Yeah. Looking forward to support all of your community member and also whole industry, right, to try to see how the managed service infrastructure, right, can really speed up this Web3 adoption. Yeah. Thanks for your having me here.
And that's it. We've come to the end of another insightful episode. A big thank you to Ben for sharing his profound knowledge and perspectives on the future of the web and how NodeReal is at the forefront of helping enable this transformation. And for me, today's discussion reminds us of the limitless possibilities that lie ahead in this evolution from Web 2 to Web 3 and the critical role that managed services play in that shift too. And I think as traditional giants and Web 3 native companies alike contribute to this dynamic ecosystem, I think it's going to be incredibly exciting to see the impact that it will have not only on businesses, but our daily lives. But as always, if you've got anything you want to share with me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, just at Neil C. Hughes. But it's time for me to sign off until our next deep dive into the world of tech tomorrow. But remember, for more fascinating insights, remember to subscribe to Tech Talks Daily. I'm here every single day, 365 days a year. But thank you for listening as always. And until next time, don't be a stranger.